Good afternoon, good evening to those of you tuning in for webinar number 13. This is Edain, the Edain channel on YouTube, and tonight we're going to talk about the Edain future strategy. A lot of you now are anticipating the release of the Edain tradable license key on March the 30th, upcoming here very shortly. And I think there are a lot of people keen to know what's happening, what's in the pipe, and what does the future look like. So without any further ado here, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Andre Stănescu, gentleman that many of you know by now. And Andre is going to share some of the details about how everybody can capture their tokens and start to use their Edain tradable license keys beginning March the 30th. So Andre, on to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Chris. So I think 13 will be a lucky number today. So yeah, it's good to be back on the show. Thank you, first of all, for the invitation. I have to say that a lot of great things have happened since I've been on the webinar. So this is amazing. I'm really looking forward to explaining to you the future strategy of Edain. So honestly, I do believe that the future looks bright. First of all, let's begin with that. And I guarantee that the audience, which is watching or will be watching this recorded, I promise that the wait will be worth it. So it's been a long ride, let's say, but again, the future looks amazing. So I'm here to discuss about a lot of topics that have been raised by the community in the past couple of days, weeks, and so on. So please stay tuned in, because a lot of great information will be covered today by me and by Mr. Hardy later. So first of all, I know that a lot of people from the Edain community have watched Crypto Data's event last week, which was named Decentralized Connectivity Redefined. I really believe that the event was spectacular. So in case you didn't get the chance to watch it, please go ahead. It's on the Crypto Data's official YouTube. So please watch that video first, because you'll find a lot of information that links to everything that we'll say today. Good. So taking that out of the plate, obviously there have been a lot of, let's say, announcements last week at the event. And a lot of things have been questioned by the community, which of course, it's fair. I'm here to discuss on behalf of the whole Crypto Data team. And first of all, the purpose of today's webinar is to, let's say, demystify all aspects that have been debated actively lately throughout the community. So I propose just to quickly begin the discussion. But first, let me give you just some context. So I have to say that Crypto Data has been an active partner since day one in the Edain project, launched by Prisma Analytics. A lot of you already know this, but I'm not sure how much you know about Crypto Data. First of all, I believe we're a company that have always done things properly. And we like to always have like the best strategy, the best vision, and the best implementation in every single circumstance. And Edain, honestly, was no exception. Everything done by Crypto Data for Edain has been done really rigorously. And I can tell you this because I've been in the backstage. I honestly believe that we, Crypto Data, have been the, let's say, ideal technical partners in this whole project, because we have vast experience in AI, big data, blockchain solutions, cybersecurity. We basically, I believe that we check all the boxes for a great technical partner in this whole ecosystem that we're building here together. And just to give you a short glimpse, Crypto Data has developed and enhanced like the whole parsing process and the data aggregation process and decision point, has done a lot of things in terms of architecture. And as far as you know, like from the past webinars, we have been actively involved in the whole development process. But here's the thing. This, as you may all know, is a big data project. And for those in the audience that know the big data field, you know how difficult it would be for us to have like a, let's say, regular database. Just like think about it. We have around 130,000 news per day, which are being parsed and analyzed. Just think about the amount of gigabytes that we will have to store this information in. It's like, again, 130,000 news per day. I have to say that it's quite a huge influx of data. And long story short, just imagine the cost that this implies when this actually scales up. But here's another point. So Edain's mission, ever since the beginning, has been to keep all the search results accessible and affordable to everyone, of course, by having a low price. And we've said this multiple times throughout all the webinars, events, and so on, to keep the search affordable and to keep the knowledge accessible to each one of you. So technically, if the cost of storage and of course computing power, because we have to analyze some stuff, would increase from our end, then we would also be forced to increase the price of searches done on decision point, Q-search, and all of the future applications. So if the cost per search would increase, then the initial mission of keeping all the costs down would have been a lie. If the Edain ecosystem, in my opinion, even if it would be, let's say, amazing and helpful, it would be really expensive. So it would make no use to the target users, you, the community which are watching this specific webinar. So I'm sure most of you have already heard about the announcement. So Edain, as a tradable license key, will be launched on the Cyton blockchain. And I know this has raised a lot of reaction in the community. So I think it's our duty to, let's say, motivate the decision and to just briefly discuss about the whole context. So having that being said, let me explain to you why we believe that Cyton is the best choice for a blockchain today in the context of Edain and Prisma Analytics. Just to give you like a short introduction, because I saw some comments also on social media, and I think it's relevant to discuss about this. So Cyton, for short, is basically our integrated ecosystem for smart devices. It represents, in my opinion, a new internet layer consisting in multiple decentralized private networks. Just as a long story short, you can basically research this whole information in the previous events and on the website. So Cyton, by definition, is basically an autonomous ecosystem that operates according to blockchain standards, because at the end of the day, this is a blockchain. It has consensus, which means that the security and also immutability of the data is maintained, first of all. Second of all, it offers networking, which means that it basically ensures a secure network through, let's say, which smart devices are integrated. And then thirdly, it also allows the development of decentralized applications. So it basically supports the integration of apps and also the deployment of smart contracts. These, again, are the standards based on which a blockchain actually operates. So we can guarantee that Cyton is a blockchain just by ticking all these boxes. And I know that a lot of people in the community got confused about, let's say, our technical discussion to add Edain on the Cyton blockchain. What the community, in my opinion, does not know is that Crypto Data as a company started working on Cyton blockchain, I think, back in 2019. So almost, let's say, 3.5 years ago. Okay, so I can say that an entire team was in charge of research and also development for the past 3.5 years. And only now, like, the whole team decided that the solution is mature enough to see the light of day. So I can guarantee you from the backstage that all these efforts of launching a blockchain have begun way in the past. So plus also, please take into account the fact that Crypto Data has experience on the topic ever since 2013. But again, please watch the event that we had last week in which I expand on this idea. Now, let's remember the issue with the cost of storage and cost per search that I've mentioned a couple of minutes ago. So I have to say that Cyton is spectacular because it has a two-layer architecture. And I think that's quite a new concept for anyone in the blockchain ecosystem. So the first layer, just to give you a brief introduction, is named the Internet Network Layer. And this basically integrates and connects smart electronic devices, long story short. The second layer of the blockchain is called Smart Distributed Resources Layer, which it basically implies the ability to let others use hardware resources that you have, for example, CPU, GPU, RAM, disk space, in a decentralized way. So if you want, again, you can take a look at the event. In the keynotes, I explained this into depth. And of course, you see where I'm going with this. So I think Cyton is a perfect match in order to fulfill the computational requirements of Edain and of the whole Edain ecosystem. A big data project of this size in a decentralized architecture, in my opinion, it's a perfect combo. And that's basically why we decided to release our blockchain publicly after 3.5 years of integrating and perfecting the whole solution. Because at the end of the day, we want to build some spectacular applications. We want to use the tradable license key as a mean of exchange. And I'm sure you remember that in one of the past webinars, I've mentioned an important fact in the Q&A section. And I think also some of my colleagues also mentioned this in a couple of statements. So I'm sure the whole community already knows about Decision Point, the version that works with S&P 500 companies and common indexes. I'm sure you guys all know about this. Well, I'd like to also officially announce the fact that Crypto Data will be launching the cryptocurrency version of Decision Point. So keeping in mind that we are basically the main developers behind this crypto version of Decision Point, we are directly impacted by the fact that the knowledge vault needs to have a great architecture behind, and the whole underlying infrastructure of all the applications has to be unbreakable. So as mentioned before, we have experience on blockchain solutions since 2013. We've managed to build a lot of products, a lot of services around blockchains in general. And we believe that we have a word from a technical perspective when picking the right architecture, especially in a big data project like C++ technology and the Edain ecosystem. And I believe that also the future of crypto data depends on the correct technical choices. And that's why we believe Cyton is a great technical choice, because of the two-layer architecture that I managed to explain before. So this is why we want to adapt and also use the smart decentralized resources layer in the whole Edain ecosystem, which inevitably has to be like a decentralized architecture. We do this for the community because we know that a low cost of searching is important for them. And I want to put emphasis on this. So as a software architect myself, I'll give some more details on the topic for those who actually want to hear those details. So Decision Point will initially run as a hybrid. Of course, it will have some architectural components in the cloud using Microsoft Azure at this moment in time. And Prisma Analytics and also Crypto Data are willing to support the ecosystem from a financial perspective until the solution is mature enough, first of all. Of course, as I said before, this whole ecosystem will scale very fast. Like the cost of just keeping this whole ecosystem active will become exponentially bigger. And honestly, that is why Decision Point will also have some other architectural components which are not in the cloud, such as a fully decentralized database using Cyton. Okay, so using the second layer of Cyton that I've mentioned before. Like, just imagine using disk space that has been put to use by other users of Cyton. And in my opinion, this can scale much, much faster. So that's why the smart decentralized resources layer is like a no-brainer in the context of choosing this blockchain as the main architecture for Edain. Also, just think about the computational power, because this is also important. So at the end of the day, we do complex sentiment analysis, as you may know, at a level that, in my opinion, has not been done before. Just imagine the cost of a centralized source of computing power in the cloud versus the cost of a decentralized source of computing power by using CPU, GPU from people that are willing to put the resources to use. I think that's amazing. So Cyton is an ecosystem in which basically everyone wins. The people that add resources to the smart decentralized resource layer, first of all, and also it's a win for the people that use the resources, because they both benefit from a low cost of usage of computational power, which is given by the community. So yeah, that's a long story short about Cyton. And I know that the community has questions around, okay, you guys want to use Cyton, that's fine, but have you taken a deep look at other blockchain solutions as well? And yeah, I know that we had different expectations regarding our decision. We respect those decisions. However, Crypto Data has done its internal analysis over the past 7 years, and this research has been done extensively on all mature blockchains, which are publicly available. And this is our conclusion. There's no best blockchain. All blockchains are good at something specific. And that's why I believe blockchains should interconnect in order to bring the most value to the community. Just because we believe Cyton is a tailored and ideal solution for Edain, we do not exclude other blockchains for the bigger picture, because Cyton has also the ability to interconnect with other blockchains using so-called bridges. So in our initial assessment, we did like a really in-depth analysis on Ethereum, on Elrond, on Solana, and also on Cosmos. And we analyzed all the blockchains from multiple perspectives, such as security, let's say developers, like how well have the developers have done their job, how fast have issues been solved in the specific blockchain. If, for example, the development teams did what they promised. Also, it's worth mentioning that we analyzed how much work is done right now on the specific blockchains, how available is the support team, and many others. And based on all these criteria, I just want to briefly point out some aspects that made us decide these specific blockchains are not suitable in our specific case. Because again, there is no best blockchain. There are blockchains which are tailored to specific use cases. So let's start with Ethereum, because I think it was a big discussion behind this whole Ethereum blockchain. So of course, it's great. It's a mature blockchain. We can all agree upon that. However, they announced that they will release layer 2 in order to reduce the issue with the really high gas costs. And honestly, there have been many delays, and we cannot wait anymore until their release. We appreciate the efforts that they did, but we believe that they did not move fast enough in order to release Edain on Ethereum. Because to deploy Edain on Ethereum blockchain now, in this specific moment, would mean that the cost of using C+A technology would be insanely high. Just imagine like the cost of a search of being 1 cent and having to pay the gas fee $30. It's just a simple example. And for us, it did not make sense. And also, we believe that the validation time is quite high. Like the whole idea of the C+A technology is to give you information fast in order for you to take decisions, of course. And in order to make the validation time really fast and to lower this validation time on Ethereum, you need to actually pay more, which again is not according with the idea of Edain, to make information accessible and affordable. So that's on Ethereum, first of all. Then let's also talk about Solana, because this has been also a request from our community. So long story short, in the whole analysis process, we search for a blockchain that can interoperate with bridges and stuff, because again, we believe in this power of interconnecting blockchains. However, we saw many security issues with the Solana blockchain. For example, on February the 2nd, like at least 120,000 wrapped Ethereum worth over $300 million was basically stolen because of cross-bridge exploit. And yeah, also remember how, for example, it had a 17-hour outage. These are elements which have happened in the past. And honestly, to protect the integrity of Edain and to make sure that the community would be safe, we decided not to deploy the smart contracts on Solana. Of course, there are multiple reasons behind. I'm just making a short summary because of the short time. I will also like to discuss about Elrond, because again, this was also asked by the community. So as mentioned before, we analyze blockchains also from a team perspective. We know that Elrond has been proposed in our community, and that's why we took it really seriously. And honestly, we announced initially that Edain, like the smart contract of Edain, will be based on ERC20 standards, which Elrond at the moment does not support natively. So that was one aspect. Also, I have to say that the apps that they have launched had delays and functionality issues, which again were red flags for us. And also, we believe that the developer team did not actually convince us that they can do something sustainable in the whole ecosystem. Then we went ahead and also analyzed Cosmos, because again, this was a request. And exactly as Elrond, deployment of smart contracts on the Cosmos blockchain is not possible because it does not natively support ERC20. So that was a discussion around Cosmos. And of course, last but not least, we also analyzed Binance Smart Chain, because it's quite a big blockchain lately. And honestly, the whole team believes that the Binance Smart Chain is a blockchain only for financial applicativity. And as you know, we basically managed to build Edain as a utility token, not for financial benefits. And honestly, we believe that the value of Edain will be given by the amount of actually utilizing the token in the context of the application. So that's why we believe that Binance Smart Chain was not a good match either. So we analyzed, as I said before, all aspects about all blockchains before. And again, our research and development began back in 2019. Our knowledge on blockchain, security, AI, and so on started back in 2013. And yeah, we managed to do extensive tests on Cyton. And again, by comparison with other blockchains, we believe that Cyton is the best made blockchain solution for the Edain ecosystem. I think one point that I also have to mention, and I'm coming down to conclusions, I saw a lot of comments regarding the exchanges that we want to list Edain on. So honestly, we didn't really understand like the disappointment when announcing La Token as the first exchange to list on, basically. In our opinion, La Token as an exchange was the best initial choice. And here is why. They were the only ones that agreed to have a signed partnership with us without the smart contracts being deployed first. We discussed with them and we promised basically to you, to our community, that we will list Edain at the end of March. And in order to keep this promise, La Token was actually there to help. And of course, I think a lot of you need to know this because a lot of other big exchanges and popular exchanges have agreed to list Edain. But they wanted to see, first of all, and to have the smart contract deployed initially, just to get a better understanding on what we actually do. So listing on other exchanges, in my opinion, is just a matter of time. We have big plans ahead. So again, that was one important topic that I want to just briefly introduce, discuss, and motivate here in a live webinar. So let me just briefly end with this. At the end of the day, in my opinion, Edain will continue to do everything that we promised. The smart contract of the Edain token is in the auditing phase as we speak, basically. And I have to say that the whole community will see in a couple of days that two of the most important smart contract certification entities will say that Edain is good to go. So that being said, thank you all for your attention. I know that the last about 25 minutes have been really informative for the whole community. So Chris, back to you. Let's see if we have Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Hi guys, my apologies.
Don't worry, Chris, back to you. Thank you.
Sure. So Andre, again, thanks so much for your clear and concise and comprehensive explanations for things. I think there's probably a lot of you listening can attest. Andre covered a lot of subjects that were tabled in Telegram and some of the other platforms. And obviously, as we draw nearer to the release of the tradable license keys, these are all certainly all trending issues that were important to people. So thanks for clarifying all that stuff, Andre. We're going to go now to Dr. Schloer. Dr. Schloer is sitting in for Sebastian Poch tonight, who has fallen ill, unfortunately. And so Hardy, whom all of you know, is the founder of the Edain tradable license key concept and the Knowledge Vault. And Hardy, I'll hand over to you at this point to go ahead and share the thoughts that Sebastian wanted to have with the community this evening.
Okay, of course I will. Don't forget also the founder of Prisma, while you add all of these things. So good evening, everybody. I'm having here a speech from Sebastian. I'm going to read it to you because that's what he wanted to say tonight. And then if there's a Q&A later, of course, I will be in there and give any answers that need to be given. So here's what Sebastian wanted to say to you. Good evening, everybody. I'm very excited to be here with all of you tonight. And first, I want to thank those who have been with us since the beginning of Edain project and those who have joined us during the last 6 months. From the very beginning, we set out to turn Edain, I say Edain, he says Edain, into a platform that provides actionable knowledge to people around the world. I closely followed your feedback on the public announcements about our decisions made for the successful deployment of the Edain project. In this webinar, I want to eliminate all the current confusion by clarifying the need to make the decisions in changes we made and the reasons behind them. You have probably noticed that Edain developers, my company, Prisma Analytics, and Crypto Data have always been in touch with everyone interested in this project. Since the beginning, we have tried to explain the strategy and identity of this project as clearly as possible. About the partnership with Crypto Data, Prisma has started developing C+A technology together with the Knowledge Vault and the derived apps such as Decision Point, Circumplex, QSearch since 2016. As we began to notice the utility of blockchain technology, we considered the possibility of integrating that into our projects, which is logic. Therefore, we needed expertise in the blockchain field. We were looking for an experienced company to help us in this matter, a company that could offer an implementation solution that was able to execute the implementation process. That was the moment when CryptoData joined the project, and we chose this company for the following reasons. They have been in the industry for almost a decade as the company that was founded in 2013. That means they've been almost since the beginning of the technology out there doing it. They have developed a huge mining data center, which means they have been actively working in the industry since the beginning of blockchain technology successfully. CryptoData understood and took blockchain technology well beyond its cryptocurrency utility and implemented it into services such as telecommunication and even into physical devices. That means they've been pioneers in this area. They came up with quick solutions for Edain and a very well-developed strategy in terms of scalability, durability, very important, security, economics, and functionality. The partnership with CryptoData meant total involvement for both the entities involved in terms of building a perfectly functioning system that would satisfy our business model and the needs of the market. Initially, the partnership was only for implementing the blockchain as a solution in terms of architecture and functionality. However, as we worked together further, CryptoData saw the true potential of C+A technology and, of course, the knowledge vault. They offered to actively involve on the research and development side of the project by making available their own in-house developers and their companies' departments. So they became active partners in Edain project, and they decided to be the first company to develop an application that uses C+A technology in terms of parsers and AI and the data available within the knowledge vault, bringing these three things together to one secure application. The app is called Decision Point Crypto and was developed by CryptoData for Edain. As you can see from the website and documents we have made publicly available so far, Edain has only developed the Decision Point application for companies. This intense and fruitful collaboration has strengthened the relationship between Prisma and CryptoData, and our partnership has become a long-term one. Now, as an active partner within the project, CryptoData has analyzed the potential evolution of Edain and generated dynamic scenarios in order to observe any potential limitations and difficulties with the purpose of having a preventive attitude in the future. That means testing, making sure this thing runs. Prisma and CryptoData analyzed both existing blockchains and infrastructure optimizations in terms of costs, data volume. So please bear with us on this topic as it will be later explained by Andres Donesco, the technical solutions architect of CryptoData. about Edain listing and strategy. Going to the part that most of you expecting and are highly interested in, I'm talking about Edain listing and our future strategy. Edain is a smart contract that is not yet deployed. This means that EIE token is not yet minted. As we said since the beginning, the Edain tradable license key will be minted on March 30th. I say it again, the Edain tradable license key will be minted on March 30th. We had discussions with multiple exchanges, some of which are the biggest in the industry and smaller ones. These discussions began already in December of last year. All of the representatives of the exchange platforms were impressed by the Edain project, but were unavailable to integrate within 2 to 3 days from March 30th, the EIE minting date. This short time integration requires a large workload and an increased focus on security. LATOKEN has shown a willingness to make the effort to list a project like Edain and integrate everything in such a short time. Their developers, together with ours and CryptoData's developers, are actively working to make this possible right now. For us, meeting the promised deadline is a very important thing, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the LATOKEN people for helping us overcome this challenge. This initial Edain listing is an essential step in developing the project as the future listing of CMC and CoinGecko dependent on it. In addition, this will give value to EAI units. The first step is to deploy the smart contract and mint the EAI TLKs so that people can get their assets and transfer them to MetaMask wallets. Very important. The second step is listing the EAI on LATOKEN platform in order to give value for the unit based on the volumes generated by demand and supply provided by a trading environment. The third step is listing CMC and CoinGecko and implementing Edain in other exchanges. That's an absolute priority of ours. Listing Edain on exchanges is a necessary step, and I want you to know that the name of the exchange platform does not affect the functionality of Edain in any way. No one is obliged to trade in the LATOKEN platform or take their funds to LATOKEN. EAI units can be transferred to MetaMask and stored on Edain or 6R platform. As I said before, Edain is a long-term project and it must be developed step by step with care, each step being well thought through and consolidated so it will be a pillar of resistance for the project. The month of April is dedicated to listing the EAI in as many exchanges as possible in order to give the community a fair choice. The most advanced discussions at the moment are with Whitebit, and this listing will happen in the very near future. We also had an initial discussion with Binance, and we continue to work on the documentation needed to be listed there. As I said, Edain TLKs are not yet minted, and we need to take some essential steps in order to move forward. Edain is a ERC20 smart contract, and through the Edain blockchain, it will be possible to be implemented in Uniswap via a blockchain bridge. So we continue with this implementation in both CEX, centralized exchanges, and DEX, decentralized exchanges. About the EAI value growth strategy. For Prisma and crypto data, the Edain project was not and will not be a financial applicable project. However, the whole development strategy is based on the utility provided by this project through its developed applications and through the knowledge vault in terms of methods of collecting, processing, storing, and implementing the data that fuels the representative apps. The EAI token is the asset unit for these applications and the data available in the knowledge vault. Being a tradable license key, it can change its value depending on the demand and supply generated by the owners. Next, as a strategy, we seek to promote the applicability and utility benefits of Edain modules. We will be active both in the B2B segment through partnerships with various entities or organizations that require analysis tools, and the B2C segment in order to give everyone easy access to these analysis tools. Our goal is to create a community that actively uses these technologies to help us improve them through constructive feedback, advice, and ideas. For us, Edain is a project in which we have invested a lot of time and a lot of resources, and we want to make sure that we make the best decision so that it truly becomes a technology for the future. Next, I leave it to Andrei Stanescu, the technical solution architect of crypto data, to explain what are the reasons behind our choice to implement Edain and Edain blockchain. Thank you for your attention, and this was the words from Sebastian Pötsch. And I just want to personally add to all of this. First of all, I underwrite and underline everything that he just said in this speech. I have never read it before, I just read it now. And I want to say personally, this project is, in my lifetime, the most exciting thing I have ever done. And I've done a lot of technologies in my life. And I'm proud to be part of this. And I want everyone to understand that what we here building will be big. It will be lasting, and it will be amazing. Thank you very much.
Hardy, thanks so much. And I'm sure I speak for Sebastian when I can say that I'm sure he'd be grateful for the delivery of his sentiments and comments there. Thanks, Hardy. And I believe the last comment there, where he'd indicated that he'd hand over to Andre, who would then explain some of the reasonings behind some of the comments he actually did make prior to your recant of his speech. So we'll move forward now, guys. This is our traditional Q&A session. And we're going to go ahead and take questions from those of you who have submitted through YouTube. And I will just start at the top of our list here. We have Mr. Uwe Stray. And Andre, these questions are all going to be fielded for you, okay?
Yeah, Chris, sure thing, yeah.
And Uwe's question to you, Andre, is how do I get my Edain, from my Edain website to the Edain platform? And number one. And number two, how do I place my Edain tokens on Edain?
Right. So
Probably the number one question that everybody has, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So the process will be very simple. You will be able to, so first of all, you will have some clear tutorials on how to create a wallet on the Cyton blockchain. So it will be probably also in the video form and also in written form. You'll be able to create a wallet just by using MetaMask, which again will be straightforward. And you will have a specific tab in the Edain platform in which you can just simply fill in your wallet address and you'll be able to withdraw your funds. Yeah, so it's going to be quite straightforward. It's I promise it's going to be intuitive. So yeah,
as is traditionally become the case for most tradable tokens. The second question is from Mr. Toby Ryan. Toby's question to you, Andre, is how can I transfer the tokens to an online wallet?
Right. So quite similar to the first question. The MetaMask wallet will be yours, of course. It will be your wallet. And you'll be able to withdraw all the funds from the Edain platform directly to your private wallet. And then it's up to you what you want to do with the Edain token.
Third question, Andre, is from Guido Leonardo Ortega. Mr. Ortega asks, what will be the strategy regarding licenses as of March the 30th? I think this has kind of been tabled, but maybe you can just provide a brief recap.
Right. So just some simple steps. The pre-sale will end. So you will not be able to purchase any more Edain from the official Edain website, first of all. Then second of all, you'll be able to withdraw your Edain tokens, of course, as I said, to your personal wallet. Or you can also use the Edain tokens in order to use the C+8 ecosystem. So that's the main idea starting from the 30th of March. You can have the funds directly transferred to you. You can use them in the C+8 ecosystem and in the decision point application, the future Q search application, and also in all of the future applications. And of course, the token will be listed in multiple exchanges, which means that you'll be able to trade the license keys also on exchanges. So yeah, that's the main plan as a step-by-step approach, let's say.
Okay. And Andre, there are some redundancy here in the questions that have been submitted, and I think probably stands to reason. Everybody's, just at the point now that the token is ready to be minted. Everybody's kind of wanting to know the same things, but nonetheless, in the spirit of trying to reply to everybody's questions, I will go ahead and read them anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Fourth question is from a Mr. Andres Setia. Mr. Setya's asked, in the current era, how and what the quality of your father running this project? I'm not sure what he means by this, so I think we'll move on to his second question. And when there is a lot of competition by projects in the world, how do you show that your project can run smoothly and can be beneficial for all? This is another recurring question that we've had many, many times.
Right. So I think that apart from, there are a lot of blockchain solutions, there are a lot of, let's say, testing by other, let's say, entities, but they, like most of all, see the blockchain just as a way of, let's say, trade and make money. So what we want to do and why we believe this blockchain and this the whole Edain ecosystem will, let's say, be in the spotlight is that it actually has a real utility behind it. So as I said, the blockchain has really great utility. Also, the token has utility because you can use them in some real applications that we promise to deliver and we will deliver. And you can actually go ahead and search for relevant information. You can do your own research. As I said in a couple of webinars before, just to take better decisions at the end of the day. So I think that is the main, let's say, differentiator in terms of business and also strategy. Just by having like a clear utility, both for the token and for the whole ecosystem, I think it gives us a really clear boost against other, let's say, solutions on the market, against other competitors, so to say. And yeah, I think it all comes down to utility, because we promised a utility since day one, and we will deliver on it.
Yeah, indeed. At the end of the day, that's a requirement for any product, whether it's IT, whether it's toothpicks or tennis shoes. Serving a function is key, and clearly everybody will know that very soon. Next question, Andre, is from Mr. Hendra Alexander Saraji. Hendra's question is, will other projects continue to emerge in the future? And I presume this relates to probably other applications. Not sure. Answer as you see best fit.
Yeah, right. I mean, we'll continue the development of applications, first of all, in the whole C+8 ecosystem. Crypto data on its own will continue developing applications. And also, as I said before, like one of the most important aspects in a blockchain is to allow the community to build decentralized applications. And I think that will be beautiful because it gives you the opportunity, you as a community member, to actually build your own application, to give your own utility to the whole Edain TLKs and so on. So again, I think it's up to the community to think about possible use cases in which they can use the Edain token, in which they can use the whole blockchain with its two-layered architecture. So yeah, I think a lot of things will emerge starting from the end of March. So I'm really looking forward.
Next question is from Valentina. Valentina's question very succinctly is, where will this project go?
Like the project as a whole, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open, but I think she's just looking for perhaps a general synopsis of.
Right. It's gonna be in a continuous development process, so it's gonna perfect itself with time, I'm sure. So each thing that we do will, first of all, be launched, of course, and based on the community feedback and so on, we can go ahead and enhance everything that we do here. Also, the blockchain is meant to adapt to changing circumstances, because we know that technology evolves really fast. And also all of the applications in the whole C+8 ecosystem are here to evolve. I think that's the main purpose of technology, not to stay in a place, but actually to make sure that it evolves as fast as possible with time, because again, the times are changing quite fast. So
yeah, indeed. Next question is from Harris Sapoyan. Mr. Sapoyan's question is, how do you maintain this project going forward? Not easily, I will start with, but go ahead.
Not easily, for sure, Chris. Yeah, that's a great point. So I think with the help of the community, first of all, the whole ecosystem that we've built is done for the community. We wanted to bring like the most value for them, because at the end of the day, we know that with their help, we will be able to keep this project running. So of course, we as entities will do our best to keep the lights on, and we are willing to invest. This is a long-term project, of course, the whole C+8 technology, the Cyton blockchain, and the whole Edain ecosystem. But at the end of the day, it's down to the community, the trust that they put in us, and the solutions that we offer, and of course, in the future.
Well said. Next question is from Akash, who's been with us in the past. Akash has a two-part question, Andre. First is, what strategy will you implement to bring non-crypto natives into your ecosystem?
Right. So, of course, the TLKs is basically just a mean of exchange. I think that a lot of people that can benefit from the usage of decision point, Q-search, and all of the other applications do not have to be like crypto enthusiasts. I think they just have to see the value behind the capabilities of the applications. So remember, I used to, like, I had this webinar a couple of weeks ago in which I discussed about the target audience, both from a B2C perspective and also from a B2B perspective. And I think a lot of people that I've mentioned in those past webinars are not actually crypto enthusiasts. So yeah, I think just by having this clear utility of the applications will help bring a lot of people into the whole picture. So I think it's going to be done just naturally, again, because of the whole utility, and of course with the whole hype, with the whole, let's say, interconnected things that we managed to build and to put together.
Second part of Akash's question is, how do you keep a balance between developing the technology and also improving the value of the Edain token?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a fine line. The day only has 24 hours. And I have to say that the whole team, both Crypto Data and Prisma, have basically worked a lot in the past couple of years. So it's going to be a really fine line. Of course, we managed to invest a lot of time into the whole development process. But yeah, I think with time, we'll manage to just get a really nice balance. So time will tell, but what I promise is that everything that we do, like each minute spent into the whole development of the ecosystem, is done for the community.
Probably safe to say that developing the technology will also improve the value of the token. So
that's true. Yeah. It's a direct dependency. That's correct.
Sure. Second to last questioner today, Andre, is Raman Suvarapu. And Raman's question is also two-part. First of which is, how many coins do minting device gets on a daily basis and for how long a period? I'm not sure how to interpret that. Maybe you discern something from this that I don't.
Yeah, I don't fully get the specific question, but I think I get the context. Okay. So the best would be just to go on the official Edain website, because in terms of token allocation and so on, you have all the information and all the numbers there. So I think it's safe just to inspect on your own, like go on the official Edain website, check. You have all the information required there in order to answer this specific question. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and the second question from him, let me go back here, is this a hybrid blockchain?
Whether it depends how you basically define a hybrid blockchain. It's definitely a hybrid solution, but at its core, it's still a blockchain. So it depends on how you basically see the term hybrid. So
could be construed to be a hybrid, depending on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Last question from the group, from the writing group, is from Jayan. Jayan asks, almost every investor holds the token for short term without understanding the long-term value. So how can you ensure for us that holding this token is more beneficial for the long term? And what is your plan to increase the demand and scarcity of the token?
Of course, there's scarcity at the beginning of any project, of course. So I can say it to you right now, anything, but time will tell. Just by simply believing in the project, we as founders and putting all of our efforts in order to make this work, I think it shows the amount of dedication and the amount of trust that also the community has to put in us. So I think long story short, this answers.
Yeah, worth noting too is that Edain will mint a fixed number of tradable license keys, and that's it. There will be no.
That's correct. Yeah.
No additional tokens minted beyond what is initially been stated from the very beginning. Right. We do have some people with us in the Zoom call, as I understand now from the team in the back here. Carmen has alerted me to the fact that we have Mr. Wolfgang Lenz. Wolfgang, are you with us? Hello, Wolfgang. I do not see Mr. Lenz. Aha, there he is. And it looks like he's connecting to audio. Mr. Lenz, we may have to move to the next participant. We have a Wolfgang. If you do get connected, we will come back to you. So hold tight. The next participant is Mr. Reinhard Schreiber. Mr. Schreiber, are you with us? I see you in, but you'll need to unmute, sir, if you'd like to present your question. You know, inevitably, these always become difficult for us. Same with you, Mr. Reinhard. Bear with us and we'll come back to you. We also have Nivas ready. Nivas, are you ready? I see you online here as well. Do you have audio? Okay, we're 0 for 3 here. See, Mr. Lenz is still trying to connect. Last but not least, Gian, are you with us? I see you're in the room, but are you connected via audio? For whatever reason, we are struggling to get any of our 4 guests connected such that they can present their questions. One last time, Mr. Schreiber, I see that you're muted. Okay, somebody has sent us, one of them has sent us a message in text. Carmen, this is to you. I don't see anybody that has dropped the a message in the chat box here for us. Yeah, I don't, Carmen, I don't see anybody else here. Yeah, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap here at this point. We are on the hour or beyond the hour, just beyond the hour. So we're going to sign off from webinar 13. This was the Edain Future Strategy. And, you know, there will obviously be more dialogue as the days come to pass and we approach the day of minting and certainly beyond. I think a real key for everybody is going to be, you know, after the tradable license keys, Edain tradable license keys are minted, there's a lot of trepidation. I think for any digital currency that works in the space that we do, you know, where the traditional cryptocurrency community resides, we've made you know, an engagement here in this community for the reason that people in the crypto community are have an understanding about digital currencies, you know, and we understood that we would, you know, have an audience here that was willing to listen and participate. And, you know, with the approach of, I think, any digital currency such as the Edain tradable license key, there's always speculation about, okay, what happens the day of, you know, the day you list and then beyond. And this is a really critical threshold. And this is where a lot of people's, you know, anxieties have sort of been ratcheting up or traditionally ratchet up with products like ours. And I think the most important thing for everybody to understand and to observe is, you know, not just what we say, but what we do. And you'll see that the tokens are minted on March the 30th. And I will say it's not an easy undertaking. You know, unless you've been through this process, you don't really understand what all the hurdles are to achieve this. Part of it is regulatory. Part of it is, you know, the industry itself maturing and understanding, you know, how to interact with developers such as Edain, you know, who come to market with products. But, you know, I think one of the first critical tests for Edain, after all of the dialogue, after all the interaction, engagement that has been undertaken with the community, a community that, you know, now I think is in excess of something like 150,000 people, is really important. And then, what happens on April the 1st and April the 15th and April the 30th. This is where rubber really starts to meet the road for everybody that has made a commitment, an investment, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's interest, whether it's whatever, really starts to pay dividends. And, all I can say is that come March the 30th and beyond, everybody will start to understand that everything that you've done, all the time and resource that you've spent to stay close to the community, to be involved in the community, will start to be realized. And, Edain, like any other project before, were information technology or system designers or coders or whatever, we're people, we're humans. And, we as a group of humans came to this community. We started to tell our story. People thought it was interesting. People listened, people onboarded, people have shared their thoughts, their emotions, anxieties, highs, lows, so on and so forth. And all I can say is that, after 6 proper months of public engagement, there was a whole stage before, Edain ever went public. It starts to burn itself in you. And, we as humans are very much as wrapped up into this as any one of you are, if not more so, because we live, eat, breathe, sweat, cry, Edain. And, March the 30th is a big day for all of us. So we look forward to having everybody online with their wallets, their MetaMask wallets ready to accept tokens. And for those of you who just, want to participate as voices in the community, you'll see that we're here on March the 30th and April the 1st and May the 1st and so on and so forth. And, with the intent to be here for generations to come as we seek to educate the world in a way that nobody's ever done it before. This is transformative, and you'll start to see March the 30th. Thank you for joining us on this March the 24th, a week out from Minting Day. And stay with us, stay posted. Thanks for joining. And again, shout out to the team behind the scenes, starting with Emma and her crew, Thomas, Cosmin, Carmen, Tudor, Sarah, who's not with us tonight because she's sick, but she's always, one of the trusty, stable people behind the scenes. And again, Andre, for you and your always articulate feedback and input, and Hardy, of course, no introductions needed. The guy's a legend. Good night and good luck. Thank you.